Blue Apple, the process of translation. Imagine yourself as a bilingual. You can speak both languages, Korean and English. Now, imagine yourself that you had wasted too much time on your phone one day. So you decide you might just read a book. So you open a book and begin to read. Let's just say that the book was written in Korean. When you are reading, drawing those images that the book is conjuring in your mind, you stumble upon a phrase that suddenly catches your heart and eyes. 파란 사과. For those who don't know Korean, that means green apple. Whether it simply is a fully ripe sweet green apple or an apple that need yet more time to become a bright red one. So you think, well, the book is talking about a green apple, whether it's ripe or not. But a moment later, you think again, is 파란 사과 really green apple? Because 파란 사과 literally translates to blue apple, because 파란 actually means blue in English. So you sway between an apple that is blue and an apple that is green. That is when you confront with the most ambiguous point of translation. Should I call it blue apple? Or should I call it green apple? Or should I just call it blue-green apple to be safe? If you don't care about translating it, it doesn't really matter, because 파란 can mean blue and green at the same time. Korean says 파란불, which means blue light, to indicate a green light without giving a single thought about the fact that they are using the same word for blue and green. However, if you're willing to translate this into English, you have to go through, well, some contemplations. How will you translate that subtle sense of Koreans indicating both blue and green at the same time without using the less cool word, blue-green? One way would be to just stick to the sensible meaning of the phrase. 파란 사과, although it is literally blue apple, still indicates green apple most of the times, like in the case of blue streetlight in Korean. So you can translate 파란 사과 as green apple. There is another way you can choose from. You can stick to the direct translation of the phrase as blue apple and put a note at the bottom of the page explaining the particular use of the word 파란 in Korean. This would give the readers more sense and knowledge of the original language of the phrase, although it might sometimes infringe the flow of the reading. But here, you can ask yourself again, can I do more? Both translations, simply putting it as green apple or writing a lengthy annotation, might not satisfy you. You might question yourself, is there any other way? This is the point where creativity comes in. You might think of the color turquoise, which has a tint of green and a tint of blue all together. Because turquoise is either said to be turquoise green or turquoise blue, you might decide to call the apple of a turquoise color. Or you might just discard the effort of indicating the apple to a specific color and just call it unripe apple. Maybe the color of it wasn't really important in the first place. What the phrase was trying to say was that it was unripe and thus bitter. There is yet more rigorous interpretation to translation. Some people might even go further, beyond maybe the boundaries many people set as a limit to creative translation. You might decide to add images and twinge the whole a little bit to produce what we might see as an individual creative work. But here, with all these examples, you might ask yourself, how far can I go? Which translation is the most correct? Well, it is up to your decision as a translator. Translation is not a work of right or wrong, but an intellectual and intuitive process of trying to convey the original meaning of the phrase. But this original meaning can mean different to everybody, which gives a sense of freedom even within the work of translation. Thank you for listening to this video. This was Ho Jun Kim.